I said I wasn't gonna wear this pair until the spring, but I mean, come on, come on. We'll see how that plays out. You know, you hear sayings like, they don't make things like they used to. And it sounds corny, but when it comes to vintage clothing and a lot of other things, it's kind of true. So in this video, I'm gonna show you my 10 favorite / crazy vintage items, things that I, will go into my closet and be like, wow, that thing's wild. Or be wearing it out in the public and someone will grab me and say, that's a cool jacket, that's a cool shirt. A lot of good stuff in here. Let's do it. And of course, if you are new around here, you gotta subscribe. First up, let's start with something from Patagonia. This is a Cinchilla snap fleece. Patagonia actually promotes buying their vintage stuff, which I think is awesome. And if you don't know about these jackets, they always release them with these crazy patterns on it. The vintage ones are the best though. There's turtles, there's dinosaurs, there's trees. So if I want to throw on a pattern that you're not gonna see, you are literally not gonna see anyone else wearing a pattern like this, this is my go-to. Next up, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw me wearing this right before the Lions lost in the playoffs. I was rocking this just to support with a nice blue color. We've got an ACG rain jacket. This blue hue, there's not gonna be a whole lot of Nike jackets nowadays that you're gonna buy that aren't super expensive, that have the details that this thing does. It's got this storm flap on the front here, and on the inside, draw cords, mesh on the inside, yellow on the inner lining of the hood, the old Nike ACG logo. Most people don't like this logo. I'm all about it. Any type of cord or strap or pocket that you would want on a technical jacket, this thing has. While we're talking about Nike ACG, I wanna show you guys this micro fleece zip-up jacket. It's not true vintage. This is probably from 8 or 9 years ago. I don't wanna say that it's a vintage item. Let me show you something better. Nike ACG track jacket. This thing is absolutely nuts, man. This is one of those color combinations that ACG is known for. Check out that tag. You just don't see a tag like that. Absolutely one of my favorites. The ACG logo is a little bit larger than they use nowadays. I'm gonna do a whole video on my vintage track jackets at some point, so I didn't wanna over represent that here. Okay, next up, we have a Prada Puffer jacket. This thing is a beast. It's from the 90s. It's held up really well. There's some wear and tear on it, but I don't care. Like I've been telling you guys, there's something about having a jacket that you can just throw on over everything. It's very nice. A lot of my top coats are like that, but having a puffer jacket option that's just a little bit warmer is perfect. It's longer, it goes about mid-thigh, and you really wouldn't know that this is Prada unless you looked on the inside. The Prada logo on the sleeve is also red, so that blends in. And when's the last time you saw a draw cord on the wrist area of the jacket? Okay, next up. Oh man, this is reminding me that I don't have any jerseys in here. Let's get into a little sportswear. Boston Celtics nutmeg crew neck sweatshirt, and this is just wild. Talk about details. Boston Celtics embroidered Larry Bird's jersey on a hanger connected to the E in the Celtics logo, his shoes, and then at the bottom it says everything you'd like to know about the Boston Celtics, including their address. When's the last time you've seen something like this on Fanatics or Lids or anything like that? It's just not something that they do anymore, but I really appreciate it. Since I showed you something green, let me show you these shoes too. We have an orange Nike box, which you don't see that often, but they do still use here and there. These are from 2007. This is a pair that probably not many of you have ever seen. We've got the Nike Dunk Low CL Pine Green. It's just crazy how old these are, yet they're in wearable condition. You could put these in a newer Nike box and not many people would flinch. They'd be like, okay, that's great. This is the CL version, which stands for comfort lining, so it's a little bit beefier and better for skateboarding. That's what a lot of people used these older Dunks for. Check out the insole. All different colors, like a Pantone assortment. So there you go. A dunk you haven't seen maybe ever. Okay, this t-shirt, every time I wear it, somebody says something to me. It's a vintage Davis Cup tee made in USA and has one of the best tennis graphics I've ever seen. I would love to reuse this, but it's so good. I can't use this on my own brand because this guy lives. Check out the back. This is from 1992, the Target Center in Minnesota. Is that even still there? Probably not. The date that it happened, Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, just some absolute legends. And it fits me well. That's the best part about vintage t-shirts. They tend to have this relaxed, comfortable fit that a lot of streetwear brands are using now. They're not tight. Like I want to be restricted. No. And the quality of vintage tees compared to now. Look at this. This is a Sergio Tacchini track jacket that is made in Italy. And man, this thing just speaks for itself. This thing is absolutely bananas. All the different pastel colors on here, the way that patterns were used back in the day and how acceptable it was. I wish it was like that now. A lot of people wear basics nowadays, and I'm one of them. But stuff like this will always have a place in my heart. It is just so unique. And you know, these colors are not going to be for everyone, but I love it. This just feels like a little bit of history. Sergio Tacchini has relaunched. I don't have any of their newer stuff. If you guys have bought any of it, you can let me know how it is. We got to talk about my favorites. Stone Cold Steve Austin, glass breaking. That's the noise that played in my closet when I introduced this to the rest of the jackets. We have a vintage Nautica sailing jacket. Every time I wear this in a video or out in public, someone says something, and rightfully so. They should say something because this thing is just crazy. We've got the Nautica Spinnaker logo, some sailing flags, a color combination that is just very 90s with this teal and this bright purple. I rock this with my Grape 5s all the time. Love it. The collar is absolutely insane. It's wide and it's tall. Tall enough to stash Nautica on the back there. The inner lining is a white mesh and it also has sailing flags on it. The zipper is metal and a heavy metal. This thing could do some damage. Continuing with the Nautica theme, I've never showed this to you guys or talked about it, so we're gonna do that here. It's only appropriate. Nautica vintage stuff is my favorite. You guys know that. We've got this Nautica competition jacket here, and this is the original piece, and it served as the inspiration for the collaboration that I did with Nautica in the fall. So you can obviously see where the reference came from. And me and my guy, Steve McSween, the head designer over at Nautica, we're in the archive, and we were just on the same page. Shout out to Steve, you're the man, I appreciate you, bro. We grabbed this off the rack and we were both looking at it like, this deserves more. So obviously, we did our little thing on it. One of my favorite details on this thing is, you know, a lot of the vintage Nautica stuff has the bigger collars like the last one did. The inside of this one is navy with a white stripe, and all of a sudden it makes this thing just preppy. I love that detail. This guy is just so cool. You know, we released this at the end of summer going into the fall of 2023. So now I'm excited to have this going into the spring. And no, I did not steal this from Nautica. I sourced it myself. On the side there, you've got that old Nautica competition logo. There is so much potential with Nautica competition, and I think Nautica is going to do some cool stuff with it this year. And real quick, I just got to thank you guys because I wasn't the biggest vintage person. It wasn't until you started recommending I check out certain vintage brands and styles that I really dove into it. So this is you guys. It really is. So the people early on that have been here since day one, commenting on my videos saying, go check out some vintage stuff, this is for you. If there's any vintage style you recommend I check out, leave it down in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe before you get out of here. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.